Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. So you know how everyone suddenly becomes a career counselor?
Haha, yeah.
The second you even mention the word college?
Oh, yeah.
Well, get ready, because today we are tackling a topic that always seems to get people, uh,
Fired up.
yes, fired up. The idea of useless degrees.
Right.
Specifically, we're diving into this article that you sent over
Yes.
called 20 Most Useless College Degrees 2025. It's by E.D. Smart.
Okay.
And, since you're getting ready to do some career coaching with some college-bound students,
Yes.
we know you want to be armed with more than just these clickbaity headlines, right?
Absolutely. I mean, there's always a new article about this, but
All right.
the reality is always much more nuanced, right? Like
Right.
students need guidance that goes beyond these like attention-grabbing lists.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so full disclosure, this article had some real head scratchers.
Okay.
Um, they're trying to steer students toward fields that have good job prospects, which is fair,
Right.
but they're doing it by listing out all of these degrees that they consider to be dead ends.
Mm-hmm.
And some of their picks, well, let's just say I have some thoughts.
I can imagine. I always tell students the value of a degree really depends on your goals, right? Like, is it just about getting any job right out of college? Or are you playing the long game?
And what does that even mean, the long game?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, are you thinking about, what skills you might need 5, 10 years down the line?
Because even if a degree doesn't scream like future Fortune 500 CEO,
All right.
it could still teach you skills that are really valuable and in high demand, right?
Exactly. Take computer science, for example,
Okay.
which is on their list of useless degrees, which seems wild
It's on me.
in our tech-obsessed world.
What?
But the article argues that a general CS degree is too broad these days.
Okay.
And you know what? They're not entirely wrong.
So it's not that knowing how to code is useless. It's that you need to have a specialty within the field. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Think about it. Cybersecurity is huge right now, right? With all the data breaches, online threats, companies are desperate for experts who can keep their information safe.
Absolutely.
And that requires specialized cybersecurity knowledge.
Right.
Data science is another booming field.
Oh, for sure.
Every click, every purchase you make online generates data.
Yeah.
And businesses need people who can analyze that data to understand consumer behavior.
Oh, wow.
And then make strategic decisions.
So it's kind of like saying, being a doctor is useless.
Yeah.
You have to specialize in cardiology or neurology.
Exactly.
Okay, I get it.
It's not the whole picture.
But it's not the whole picture.
Exactly. And sometimes a broader degree gives you that foundation
Right.
to then specialize later on.
Okay.
It's about knowing the pathways in that field.
Okay, so speaking of pathways, they also put education on the chopping block.
I know, right?
I mean, come on.
It's like, what are we even doing here?
We're literally talking about education right now.
It's very meta.
It's very meta.
Okay, so
But their point is that teaching often requires very specific certifications, which is true.
okay.
But they neglect to mention, alternative certification programs.
Right.
These programs are a game changer for people who didn't initially train to be teachers,
Right.
but realize later on that it's their calling.
So someone with a degree in, say, biology,
Right.
who's like, you know what? I'm meant to be in the classroom. They could go through one of these alternative certification programs.
Exactly. They can take their existing degree, go through the program, and become a certified teacher.
Wow.
They also might choose to get a master's in education to specialize even further, maybe in something like special education, which is an area with a growing need.
So it's about knowing how to navigate the system,
Yes.
knowing what options are out there.
Yes. And that's something this article completely misses when it comes to art history.
Okay.
They paint a very bleak picture of the field, focusing on those limited work-in-a-museum type jobs.
Right.
But what they don't realize is that art history teaches incredible visual analysis skills.
Hmm.
And guess what? Those skills are in high demand in fields you might not expect.
Wait, are you telling me that those starving artist jokes are missing the bigger picture here?
Totally. Think about it. UX design, user experience design.
Okay.
It's all about understanding how people interact with a visual.
Right.
Who better to do that than someone trained in analyzing visual proposition, color, and symbolism?
That is fascinating. I'd never even, made that connection before.
And then there's the world of art auctioneering.
Oh, right.
Knowing the history, the techniques, the subtle details that make a piece valuable, that's where an art history degree suddenly becomes very, very lucrative.
Okay, I'm starting to see a pattern here. It's not just about what you study, it's about how you apply that knowledge.
Right.
Right.
100%. And sometimes those less obvious degrees teach you skills that are incredibly transferable to a wide range of fields.
Right.
It's all about thinking outside the box.
All right, well, we've officially busted the myth of the useless art history degree.
Mm.
But this list is long, and I have a feeling there are more surprises in store.
Yeah, you're right. This list goes on,
Oh boy.
and there are definitely more eye-openers on here.
Okay.
Let's talk about humanities degrees in general, like philosophy, languages, even history. The article kind of lumps them all into this not so useful category, but they're missing something crucial.
All right, I'm intrigued. What is the hidden superpower of a humanities degree?
Critical thinking.
Oh,
These
mm,
degrees, they force you to analyze complex arguments, weigh different perspectives,
Right.
and form your own conclusions. And these are invaluable skills in any field that requires problem solving and decision making.
For sure.
Guys, think about it.
Yeah.
It's not just about, like, memorizing historical dates or philosophical theories.
Right.
It's about learning how to think critically about the world around us.
Totally.
And that's something that employers across all industries, they're looking for that.
Yeah. So, like, take philosophy majors, for instance. The article kind of just brushes them off.
Right, exactly.
But I've seen philosophy grads, like, excel in so many different fields. Law, journalism, even tech.
Absolutely.
Like, philosophy majors in tech, how does that even work?
Because tech isn't just about coding.
Okay.
It's about ethics. It's about anticipating problems. It's about understanding, the implications of new technologies. And those are all areas where a philosophy background can really shine.
It's like that saying, if you're not a philosopher by the time you're 30, you have no heart. But if you're a one after 30, you have no brain.
Uh-huh.
But, like, maybe you need both to thrive in today's world.
Right. I love that. And it applies to language degrees, too.
Oh, okay.
The article claims they're not specific enough.
Yeah.
And sure, just speaking another language, might not be as unique as it once was.
Right.
But combine that language proficiency with, like, a deep understanding of another culture's history, their politics, their social customs.
Okay.
Suddenly, you're not just bilingual.
Yeah.
You're a cultural liaison. You're a global communicator, a bridge builder.
Totally.
Right. And those roles are essential in international business, diplomacy, nonprofit work. The list goes on. It's all about how you package those skills for the job market you want.
It's about seeing the connections,
Yes.
the threads that tie these, like, seemingly random, disparate fields together.
Yes, you're getting it. And that brings us to a group of degrees that I feel like often get labeled as passion projects.
Oh, okay.
Music, theater, studio arts, even culinary arts.
But these are the fields where people are always like, follow your passion, not the money.
Right.
But is that always realistic advice?
It's tricky because these are fields where talent and drive, they're essential.
Yeah.
But they often require more than just a degree.
Okay.
Take culinary arts, for instance.
Okay.
The article correctly points out that the restaurant industry, it's tough. It's long hours. It's high pressure.
Yeah, it's not all, like, gourmet meals and Food Network fame.
Exactly. A culinary arts degree can teach you the technique,
Sure.
but it doesn't automatically make you a successful chef or a restaurant owner. Right. You need business sense. You need people skills. You need to understand the market.
You really got to hustle.
Yes. And a willingness to hustle.
Oh, sure.
And the same goes for music, theater, studio arts.
Right.
These are incredibly competitive fields.
Oh, yeah.
A degree can give you a foundation,
Yeah.
but you need to build your network. You need to create a strong portfolio.
Yep.
You need to get your work out there.
It's about treating your passion like a business.
Exactly. And that might mean getting creative with how you apply your skills, right?
Right.
A theater arts grad, they might find their niche in event planning.
Oh.
A musician might excel in, like, music therapy.
Interesting.
It's about adaptability.
Right.
Thinking outside those traditional career boxes.
Totally.
You got it. And, this whole conversation reminds me of something a student once told me.
Oh, story time.
What?
Okay, I love a good student anecdote.
So this student was studying film studies,
Okay.
which, as you can imagine, raised some eyebrows among the practical degree crowd.
Oh, I know, right? So you want to work in Hollywood, better know someone.
Exactly. But this student was different.
Okay.
They loved film, yes, but they were also fascinated by marketing,
Okay.
by how stories connect with audiences.
Okay. Okay. I see where this is going.
So they ended up landing this internship at a digital marketing agency.
Nice.
Specifically, they were working on video content. And turns out their knowledge of film theory, editing techniques,
Yeah.
even film history, it gave them this unique edge in creating engaging content.
They found that sweet spot
Yes.
where their passion intersected with the demands of the market.
And that's what it's all about, right? It's about encouraging students to find those intersections,
Right.
to think beyond the limitations of a degree title and see the possibilities.
It's about empowering them to write their own career stories.
Exactly. And, there are a few more degrees on this list that I think could spark some really interesting conversations.
So we've talked about computer science, education, art history, humanities degrees, even those passion project fields. What else did this article consider useless?
Well, they had some interesting takes on degrees like psychology and criminal justice. They pointed out that while those fields are definitely in demand, a bachelor's degree often isn't enough to land those specialized roles.
So it's back to that specialization thing again.
In a way, yeah. They argued that for careers like, say, clinical psychology or forensic investigation, you'd likely need at least a master's degree, if not a doctorate.
Okay.
But what I found interesting was their take on how a psychology degree, even without further specialization, can be a surprisingly good fit for fields like marketing and advertising.
That's interesting. Could you elaborate on that a bit?
Sure. Marketing and advertising are all about understanding consumer behavior, like what motivates people to buy, what captures their attention.
Right.
And who better to understand the human mind than someone with a background in psychology?
I'd never thought about it that way, but it makes total sense.
Right. And then with criminal justice, they highlighted how it's often more about paperwork and procedures than those, high action crime dramas we see on TV.
Yeah, less law and order, more filing subpoenas.
Exactly. But even then, that attention to detail, that ability to navigate complex systems, those are transferable skills that could be valuable in fields like compliance, risk management, even insurance investigation.
So it's not just about like the specific job titles associated with the degree. It's about the underlying skills and how they can be applied in different contexts, right?
You got it. And this whole conversation has really got me thinking about how we can best support students who are feeling, overwhelmed by all these choices.
And that's what I was just thinking about. Our listeners are about to head into those career coaching sessions. So what are some key takeaways they can use to kind of guide those conversations?
First and foremost, I'd encourage them to shift the focus from, good degrees versus bad degrees to what are your strengths, your passions, your goals.
Right.
This article, as flawed as it might be, can actually be a good conversation starter.
I like that. Instead of just dismissing it outright, use it as a tool.
Exactly. Ask students, what do you think about this list? Do any of these surprise you? Why or why not?
Get them thinking critically, right? Instead of just accepting these pronouncements as like gospel.
Yes. Encourage them to research those fields, talk to people who are actually working in those areas. Ask them about their career paths, what they love about their jobs, what they wish they'd known sooner.
It's about getting them out of the theoretical and into the real world.
Absolutely. And remind them the job market is always changing.
Always.
What's considered a hot field today might be completely different in 5 years.
Oh, yeah. So adaptability is key.
100%. The most valuable skill you can have in today's world is the ability to learn, to adapt, and to find creative ways to apply your knowledge.
That's such a powerful message to leave with students.
And it's something that I think we can all benefit from remembering no matter where we are in our careers.
Absolutely. So to our listener who's about to embark on those career coaching sessions, we hope this deep dive has given you some fresh perspectives, some new questions to ask, and maybe even a few surprising insights to share with your students. And to all our listeners, as always, keep those requests coming. We love diving into these thought-provoking topics with you. Until next time, happy learning.